Let's get after it. It's FT Live on Stadium, and we're in Cincinnati. And Russ Dorsey is joining us right now. Russ, you
Time out,
jealous
time
you're
out.
not here?
Russ, you rocking that Chicago shirt. My Buccaneers, baby, took care of business, big
That's
dog.
right.
Oh, our
Listen,
Buccaneers. Let's go, baby.
I don't want to talk about it. Right,
We're
like
no,
this
we're
is
good.
my Chicago Bulls shirt because as you can
Oh,
see
all
here in
right.
Chicago, we've moved on from football season. Like we don't even care anymore. Like if it wasn't for fantasy football, I don't know what
Sorry.
I'd be doing.
No, you're
I
good.
put out a tweet yesterday. Like I'm just worried about brunch on Sundays now. Like I'm not. I'm done with football.
It had a hint of orange in there. Sorry, that's my bad. I mean,
Yeah, no, it's all good. It's all good. Yeah, I'm not even thinking about them anymore. The team that shall not be named. That's what we're gonna call them.
all right.
That's messed up, though, because the Cubs play on Sundays. So are you down on the Cubs after what happened this weekend with the
Yeah.
Diamondbacks? What the hell? They
Am I
get swept
down
all
on
of a
the
sudden. We don't know
Cubs?
if they're going to make it.
Am I down on the Cubs? Listen, they're playing the worst baseball they've played in the second half right now, right? At a point where you need to be playing your best baseball. I think if you're a Cubs fan out there and you're looking for a glass half full view, they have a series against Pittsburgh and Colorado this week. And then you have Atlanta. And then the last series of the season for the Cubs up in Milwaukee, which should be a really good series against the Milwaukee Brewers. And that could determine a lot in terms of where the Cubs are when it comes to the postseason. They didn't play well against the Arizona Diamondbacks, who were right on their tail in the wild card standings. And now for the D-backs, you're in cruise control. You're in front of the Cubs. And now they're tied with the Miami Marlins, who've been playing really good baseball, exciting baseball over the weekend for that final wild card spot. So is there hope for the Cubs? Sure. You got to play well against Pittsburgh. You got to play well against Colorado. That's not guaranteed because they dropped 2 of 3 last week in Colorado against the Rockies. So you have to beat these teams that you need to beat, that you're better than. But those teams are where they are for a reason. And if the Cubs want to get to where they want to go, you got to beat those teams.
Well, let me ask you this: who's the fully to blame for this little downfall they got going on here? Like, are the guys not stepping up? Is it pitching? Is it hitting? I mean, who's to blame?
Well, they had their ace, Justin Steele, on the mound on Friday, who has been right in the Cy Young conversation, with Blake Snell. And he gives up 6 runs in less than 4 innings, something that we hadn't seen from him before. And guys are going to go through their struggles on the mound like we've seen it from a lot of Cy Young candidates, right? Garrett Cole can go out there and strike out 15, or he'll give up 5 runs every once in a while. Like, you don't expect that from him. But at this point in the year, it's magnified, right? Like when you don't play well, people look at it like, oh my gosh, it's the end of the world. They're still right there, right? And for a Cubs team that I don't know if people even saw them being in a playoff conversation at this point in the season, now that you're here, I know living here in the city, Cubs fans went through all the emotions of, I don't even care anymore. This team isn't good. Fire everybody to we've been in playoff position this whole time in the second half. What do you mean we might not make the playoffs? So this is what if you're a fan base, this is what you want. You want your team to be playing games that matter down the stretch. Now for the Chicago Cubs, you have to get back to being that team that you were in the second half, that had a top 5 offense, some of the best starting pitching in the big leagues, and get back to playing the baseball that got you here.
Yeah, so if the Cubs start winning, Russell, we know that nobody's going to watch the Bears, so that's something to watch in Chicago. But as far as Arizona, now that they're back in it, how dangerous can they be when with Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly in a playoff setting?
Yeah, I like the D-backs because they're fun and they're athletic and they're so young as a team. Like they don't know like they shouldn't necessarily be here, right? They are managed well by Torey Lovello, who's been there for a long time now, and he has them prepared to play, right? Like they knew they needed to kick some ass in that series against the Chicago Cubs, and that's exactly what they did. And they looked focused, and they looked ready, and they looked like a team that wants to go to the postseason, right? And you're seeing guys like Lourdes Gurriel and Christian Walker, and then these young kids like Gabriel Moreno and Corbin Carroll. They're coming out and they're playing their best baseball when you need to play your best baseball. And I think for the D-backs, listen, nobody knows what's in store for them. I don't know if anybody expected them to be here, but now that you're here, you want to go for it. You want to go to the postseason. You want to prove people wrong that didn't think you could be here. And I think the D-backs, some of that youthful energy, I think thought the same thing about the Reds in the second half is, youthful energy can carry you, right? Even if you're at a talent deficit, because you don't know what you don't know. And if you're one of these young kids up in the big leagues first or second year, it's like, all right, let's go. Like, we don't care who's in front of us. We don't care if the Braves are there, the Dodgers. We're going to come out every night trying to beat you.
All right, so let's put the pressure on. We have the poll question running right now on watchstadium.com/foul territory. You just have to pick one team out of these four that you feel confident is not going to be in the postseason. Arizona, Chicago, Miami, Cincinnati, because we're here, so I don't want to be too loud with it.
One team that I am confident will not make it to the postseason.
Correct.
Careful, Russ.
Todd, I love
On
you.
many
Danny,
fronts.
you know I love you too.
Don't start with that crap.
Look at and make sure, because if you go the wrong way, I'm gonna throw a schedule at you.
No, listen, go ahead. Let's hear what your answer is.
It's only because
first.
we buried the Bears. That's why
exactly.
Look, I bury the Bears with you. I'm right there. I'm gonna say Cincinnati just because of those teams. I just don't trust the starting pitching at this point.
Make sure we save this clip in a couple weeks. That's all we
That's
ask. Thanks,
fine.
producer.
That's fine. If I'm wrong, I'm gonna come up here. Y'all gonna have me on. I'm like, Todd, I was wrong, bro. I was wrong. I just think it's the starting pitching. It's been the thing that's been their weakness this year. I love the lineup. I love the young players. I love Ellie and Matt McClain and Spencer Steer. Will Benson having a breakout year. Like, I love what they do in their lineup. I just don't know if they're going to be able to score 6 and 7 runs a game over this last 2.5 weeks of the season. That's really hard to do when you know that your starting pitching isn't necessarily there like those other three teams.
Just you're forgetting, though, we're in Cincinnati right now. Todd Father's probably going to walk into that clubhouse and be like, who's hitting dingers for me tonight in the next few days? They got the Twins for 3, then the Pirates over the weekend. Next week, 2 against the Guardians, and they finish their season against the Cardinals. I mean, it's not easy, but it's not
daunting.
It's not daunting compared to some others, but okay.
Pirates and Cardinals, for some reason, have their number this year. That's the only problem I got. Mm-hmm. For some reason, those two teams have been dominant against them. And hopefully they can flip the script here. That's all.